Chapter 54. Jen. 12th of April, I remind Steph, sinking into a chair next to her in the staff room with my mug of tea. What's the rush? She asks. Is Michael afraid you're going to turn into a pumpkin or something? You know Michael. I swig my drink. Everything has to be done as swiftly and efficiently as possible. He hates waiting for anything. He's clearly a lot more romantic than I gave him credit for. She grins. Robot guy's gone rogue. I found numbers for every possible wedding supplier in his diary, I confess. He booked us onto a marriage preparation course before he even proposed. Steph hoots with laughter. What does the course involve? Is it any good? I did enjoy the first session, actually. I fill her in on the key details. It made me realise that even though we see each other all the time in school, we're not always having proper conversations where we actually share something meaningful. Ever since we came back, it's like Christmas never happened. Steph gestures at staff walking busily across the room. The pace of this place is crazy. How's the new role? I groan and put my mug down. I've been booked onto training and all these meetings, and with the shuttle bus, I won't know whether I'm coming or going. I'm sure it will get easier once you've got your head around it, Steph reassures me. Maybe, I say doubtfully. This asbestos thing isn't helping. We have a support staff shortage, and who's going to want to work here? Didn't you say they were getting some porta cabins? I shrug. Michael said they were looking into it, but I don't know if anything came through. Speaking of Michael, I see he's keeping himself busy. She nods to a poster on the wall. It's a cute photo of Michael with Bradley. There's a sticker on it saying, "Sponsor me." He's been training for a while now, I tell her. He won't have any problems running it. Hello, quizzers. Sean bounds up and sits next to me. Can you make it this week? I pull a face. Not sure. Oh, come on, Steph nudges me. What are you going to do? Write your seating plan? Do you mean for my class or for my wedding? Does it matter? She says, and we both laugh. Our performance in the literature round will be sadly lacking without you, Sean adds plaintively. I'll do my best, I pacify them, but all I can see in my head is an overwhelming to-do list. Is Michael okay? Sean asks. I feel terrible about what happened at Christmas. You weren't to know, I say, and an irrational flash of anger at Michael fizzes through me. He should check everything first. It must be hard though, Steph says. I mean, anyone could eat an orange in the staff room at lunchtime. Hence why I made that poster. I point to the citrus allergy awareness one that I put up, noticing that someone has drawn an elaborate Edwardian moustache onto Michael's face. Teachers are worse than kids sometimes. Maybe the immaturity rubs off on us. Does anyone really notice what's on the walls, though? Steph says incredulously. I bet if you asked someone what posters were up in the staff room when they were on the yard, they wouldn't be able to name one. Not even the union board? Judy interjects, waving an equalities poster which she then pins up. I notice, I call over. Steph looks less convinced. I had an email, Judy says in a lower tone, moving closer to speak to me. Chair of Governors accepted the points I raised about the HR policy. She's asked to meet with me to discuss it without David. She looks at me with a glint in her eye. Maybe I should bring up a few other things too. Ask her where the porta cabins are, Steph says. I'm tired of bus journeys. Hear, hear, Sean chips in. Perhaps you could spend your Christmas holiday ringing suppliers and see if you're any more successful, Michael says acidly. I didn't even notice him come in. Sean and Steph look down awkwardly, and the atmosphere becomes icy. We know it's a difficult situation, Judy says diplomatically. I just saw the posters. Can I sponsor you for the marathon? Michael's expression changes. I wouldn't say he looks happier, though. His eyes widen slightly, as if in shock, then his brow furrows. He runs a hand through his hair, which he usually does when he's stressed. Yeah, I'll be sending out a link in a bit, he says, his tone still snappy. He storms off towards his classroom, and I feel everyone's eyes on me in a kind of what was that all about way. I think, I clear my throat. He's got a lot on at the moment. He's certainly firing out enough emails to fill my inbox to maximum capacity. Again. Amidst emails saying I've reached my storage limit, there are department memos, an agenda for our meeting, several different emails with huge attachments, and by break, there's a new one he sent to all staff with a link to the donation page for the marathon. I bookmark it. I use the red flag for anything important and then categorise it later when I get the chance. There are a lot of flagged emails clogging up my inbox, then shut my laptop in frustration. Why is my fiancé determined to live at this inhuman level of intensity? I'm beginning to worry that he'll have a heart attack. I look at my diary. I suppose I'm in no position to lecture him when I'm cramming in meetings in an over-full schedule. I had an email from a parent asking if there was any support available for their child. I looked the child's name up on the system, Kane Lewis. He's listed as having moderate learning difficulties and poor literacy. Who is his English teacher? Liz. I go back to the email. Struggling with spelling, lacks confidence, quiet in class. He would have had a supply teacher while Liz was off, so that probably hasn't helped. I head for the staff room to see if Liz is around. Luckily, she's chatting to Judy. Hiya. I approach them both. Liz, do you have a minute to discuss Kane Lewis? Sure, Liz says. He's struggling, isn't he? Yes. I'm glad she's aware of this already. His dad emailed me about his spelling. Basically, he doesn't know a lot of the sound patterns, Liz explains. I bought some flashcards to use with my son, so I thought I could bring them in and see which ones he doesn't know, then give him a pack to take home for his parents to work through with him. That sounds great. I try to hide my surprise. I had assumed that Liz was pretty switched off. She had been behind on the schemes of work in September, and then she was signed off for a few months. Maybe I misjudged the situation. I'll bring the resources to the meeting, she says. There may be other students who would benefit from them. Our meeting is in Michael's room after school. He's not actually there when I arrive, and I wonder whether he's been roped into bus duty. Judy volunteers to make tea, and Liz supplies some chocolate biscuits. Jeff comes in, and it feels like the old, easy dynamic between the four of us from last year. I'm getting a puppy, Judy announces. She shows us photos of an adorable-looking King Charles Spaniel. My sister got one last year, Liz says. I think he's only just sleeping through the night. Sounds like a baby, Jeff comments. Well, I figured we need a new adventure, Judy grins. Plus Lydia will come over more often because she'll want to play with him. I remember Judy showing me photos of Lydia's graduation, but that was 2 years ago. Where is she based now? I ask. Sheffield, Judy says. She's working in speech therapy. Dylan's been going for weekly sessions with a speech therapist, Liz says. I think he finds signing easier. Does your son use sign language? I ask. I've been reading about the need to train up support staff in this. Yes, he's very good at it. Liz smiles and pulls up a picture on her phone to show me. I've been taking an evening class to learn it too. He has Down syndrome, so his speech is a little trickier. Dylan is wearing a cowboy hat and striking a pose in the picture. He looks cute, I say. I'm feeling guilty that I never asked Liz much about her kids. Now I'm realising that her experience would be an amazing help when I'm so out of my depth with all of these different learning needs I'm supposed to be dealing with. Michael bursts through the door, out of breath and flustered. Sorry, everyone. He moves over to his laptop and starts setting it up, typing the keys aggressively. There's a tea there for you, Judy says. Thank you. He picks it up gratefully. I've just been talking to David. The porter cabins are arriving at the end of the week. Which company is it? Jeff asks. Well, Michael begins, it's actually a parents' company. Do you know Jack Casey? He's best friends with Bradley. He told his mum about the marathon and the fundraising, and she rang up to say that her company is looking for a local charity to support this year, and they would like to make a large donation. How large? I ask. 10 grand, Michael says. There's a collective gasp. Anyway, David asked her more about the business and she mentioned porter cabins. Then he said we urgently needed some. It all worked out perfectly. David Clark definitely seems to be a magnet for good things to just fall into his lap. Okay, so I sent you all the agenda for today's meeting. Michael reverts back to business mode. Item 1, raising achievement. I think I need another chocolate biscuit.